Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mark's Backyard Birds. This is a program requested from the internet, and it's about eco-friendly bird feeding. You guys, if you feed birds, more than likely you are concerned also about the natural world and how you can minimize your impact or negative impact on our world through all of your activities, and bird feeding being a major hobby in this country. I thought we would cover that, let you know some of the ways that you can be conscious about your ecological impact you're having through bird feeding. So we're going to cover feeders, seeds, cleaning, landscaping, things like that. All that are part of your attracting birds to your backyard. So let's get started. The first thing I thought we would talk about, of course, is your bird feeders. And when you're selecting a bird feeder, it does, of course, you economic good to choose a feeder that is longer lasting. Because if you're having to replace bird feeders yearly or every other year, or even after 2 or 3 years, because the materials give out and they start to crack, they break, they're wood, they rot, the water gets to them, all those type things. Well, it benefits you and the environment not to go through so many bird feeders. And durable materials, as in on the left, that is made out of recycled milk jugs. Yes, another really good environmental message. Do your plastic recycling. And feeders like the made by Hilltop, and they will last, for I don't want to say forever. I'm not, but I know they last for a very, very long time. And then, of course, on the right is a feeder made out of metal, which we know metal will last a very, very long time. And I understand, some people are dedicated to wood. So I thought I would throw in, if you really want to buy wood feeders or wood bird houses, see if that company cuts down trees to make their bird houses and bird feeders. Like this company, Heartwood Manufacturing down in Mississippi, they get all of their cypress, which is a very, very durable wood, from the furniture industry. They buy the scraps that the timber is cut for furniture, but the pieces they can't use, this company buys those scraps and makes uh, their bird houses and bird feeders out of them, which is a really, really good message. And a lot of local people, if you have someone close by who's making bird feeders or bird houses, a lot of times they're getting scrap wood like that, and taking it, old reusable barn wood and things like that. That is also obviously very environmentally friendly. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Remember the rules. And then people are concerned about plastics because of BPA's. Um, Aspect, my favorite feeder company with tube feeders and hummingbird feeders. They had their Yes, there is BPA in the material. There in pretty much in making a plastics. Most of it has to be, but the amount of plastics BPA in aspect feeders is so low that it passes California's Prop 65, I think it is. They're very, very strictest state in the nation for those, possible carcinogens and things like that. They have the strictest rules. Well, this is an American company. They're made in Rhode Island, but their BPA content is so low it passes the standards in California says. So there's very, very little in those. So I use them all the time, and I love them, and they'll last again for a very, very long time because they're so well built. And then of course the classic message. Look for feeders that are made in houses that are made in the USA. For in a lot of ways will hopefully assure that you're well built, and you're going to get years of enjoyment out of it. Well, and then we're going to move on to bird seed. When it comes to bird seed, you really want to buy quality, because a lot of bird seed has junk fillers in it that the birds don't really like. They toss it out on the ground, and then, of course, the more that it gets to the ground, the more your chances of attracting raccoons and squirrels and rodents and things like that on the ground underneath you. But if you go with a bird seed that is the seed that the birds like, this is my Boardwalk blend, and that is basically black oil sunflower, Nutrisaf, striped sunflower, and peanuts, all of which are high value foods for for birds, and they eat it. And so there's not as much waste and there's not as much tossing. And of course, if you want to spend a little bit more money, you can get no waste seeds, just whole sunflower, peanuts, and things, which even less getting to the ground and less waste. But buying a high quality bird seed ensures that you're going to get less waste and you're going to get less on the ground. Here's a nutritional value chart I did for video a while back, and I put a description of that in the video below about reading nutritional value on the bags. On the left is my Boardwalk blend, which shows a really high content of fat and protein, which the birds need the most. And on the right is a cheap grocery store blend. On the back of that shows how it has very little protein and very little fat in it, which even if birds eat it, they're not getting the nutrition they need. So buying good quality bird seed will definitely reduce the waste, and it will increase the value to your birds. And another thing to look for, of course, is native seed crops versus imported seeds. A lot of you feed finches Niger. You call it thistle, but it isn't really thistle. It is not even related to the plant thistle. But Niger is not grown in our country. It's a product. It's the oil crop for a lot of the India and Ethiopia and really dry country. That's just a crop they grow and they crush for their cooking oil. Well, we import it into this country and heat it to 500 degrees to kill any weed seeds and the seeds in the Niger in there. People say, "Oh, well, I fed that Niger and that thistle popped up all over my yard." It wasn't from the seed because they're not even the same plant. But the alternative to Niger for your finches is buying sunflower chips. And this is the heart of a sunflower seed that is chopped up real into small pieces and fits through finch feeders. And it is much higher in nutritional value. It's grown in this country. And of course, there's no waste. People don't realize that Niger seed, half of it is a hull. So you see the black under the feeder and they think the birds are not eating. Well, there are some that are dropping it to the ground, but they also know which hole's empty and they drop that down there. And then they have to crack open that tiny little seed. So you do get the waste on the ground underneath Niger. So the only good quality of Niger is the squirrels don't like it. So, but if you got terrible squirrel problems, I understand. And I know you guys up to the far north like it more, I think, than the rest of the country, because some of the finches up there, like red poles and white winged crossbills, things like that, seem to really like Niger. Whereas in the rest of us, the fine sunflower chips are higher in nutritional value. Birds like it more birds eat it. And so we go through it and rotate it quicker. And of course, that is another message when it comes to your bird feeders and bird seed, is that you want to rotate your seeds. You want to keep it fresh as you can. And here again is an Aspect 2 feeder that they were talking about, Aspect, the company, a while ago. And their bottom removes from the bottom of the feeder. And so I use it to flip to fill my finch feeders. And this shows where you can pour the seed in from the bottom. So I grab that feeder when I take it off the arm and I turn it upside down, take the bottom off of it, and then pour the seed in from the bottom. So I'm always rotating that seed in that finch feeder. It's a great way to do it. And it keeps your seed fresh and it keeps you going through fresh seed rather than getting that old wet seed in the bottom clumped up and it can get so hard and harder to clean. Well, that Easy Clean base makes it easy to clean, that's for sure. But keeping it rotated is so important. And then, of course, that leads to cleaning your bird feeders. Always, people ask me, how often should I clean my bird feeders? Well, in an ideal world, like once a month. But very few people have the time to do that. But 3 or 4 times a year would be good. And you want to wash them in a warm, soapy water. I use Dawn, and then clean them and scrub them and rinse them thoroughly. And then the last thing I do is spray them with a 10% bleach solution. Now, some people are scared of the bleach and the chlorine, the Clorox and things like that. Believe me, at 10%, it's very mild, but it kills the bacteria on that feeder and in that feeder that may be passed on to another bird. So the conjunctivitis eye disease and things like that can show up at bird feeders, the birds and the bird feeders. You definitely want to take them down, wash them, and do the 10% bleach solution. Many people think, well, 50-50 vinegar and water mixture is just as good. No, it isn't. It has been proven over and over that it does not kill the bacteria that we're aiming to kill whenever they're there. So 10% bleach and just let it air dry. Chlorine evaporates very, very rapidly. And so, you're not using a high concentration, and you're going to hang it out, let it dry long before you refill it. So let it air for, I don't know, overnight if you want to, but just a few hours and the chlorine will evaporate. So it's safe. And of course, keeping your birds safe is a big part of being environmentally friendly whenever you're feeding birds. And then the last part I was going to talk about, of course, is landscaping, because landscaping is a huge part of feeding birds. A lot of the birds that don't even come to your feeders will eat berries. Now, when you're selecting landscaping, always choose native vegetation. Now, this on the left is strawberry bush, which is a great native plant, and the birds love the berries. And the bottom right is an invasive exotic known as Amur honeysuckle, and it is a horrible, horrible plant. And a lot of states have outlawed it from being sold in their states and things like that because it spreads like wildfire. And yes, birds do spread it. They'll eat the berries, which are not that great for them, but they eat the berries, and of course they poop out the seed, and so it spreads it. So we've been warriors for trying to eliminate Amur honeysuckle as much as we can. We have a lot of groups here in Kansas City that work on removing it and terrible infestations of it. But do your research when you're in your area, your state, your province, and make sure that you're planting native vegetation instead of invasive exotics that can take over a woodland and crowd out our native plants. And of course, that affects our pollinators. It affects the birds that live there. So it's so important to keep in mind what we're doing, with our feeding activity. So definitely choose sustainable feeders that are well made, going to last for a long, long time. Make sure your seed is hopefully locally sourced and good, clean, quality seed and native to this country. And clean your feeders. Make sure you clean them regularly. And when you landscape with natives. And that's my program on eco-friendly bird feeding and / bird feeders. It's a great idea for a program. Thank you for sending that in. If you like the program, please give us a like, give us a share if you would. If you're on YouTube and you haven't subscribed yet, please do hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you'll know when I'm on next. Until next time, let's talk birds.